What if every second of your life had a price? What if your heartbeats were currency, and when your time runs out, you die? No exceptions, no mercy. This isn't the future. This is now. Welcome to a world where the rich live forever, and the poor beg, steal, or run for more time. This is in time. The year is 2169. People stop aging at 25, but after that, time is your only currency, your only chance to live. Time can be stolen, traded, borrowed, or lost forever. Lose it all? UD. Simple as that. We open on Dayton, a cramped, grimy ghetto where every second matters. The air is thick with tension and desperation. Well, Salas wakes up in his small, dim apartment. His arm clock blinks. Less than 24 hours left. His mother, Rachel, smiles softly as she hides her own dwindling 90 minutes. They eat breakfast together, a quiet, bittersweet ritual. She's headed to work, he to the factory. The clock ticks loudly, a constant reminder, survive the day. Will moves through security gates into a vast, loud manufacturing floor. Machinery pounds rhythmically, and a foreman shouts instructions. Workers, all young and gaunt, glance at their arms now and then. Will lifts heavy equipment with mechanical efficiency. As the shift drags on, a young worker beside him collapses. His clock blinks 0. No alarm sounds. No one stops. Will freezes briefly, his jaw clenched, then gets back to work. The factory eats people alive, and replaces them just as fast. On the streets, Will bumps into his best friend Burrell. Burrell is ecstatic. He's just 1-2 days gambling. Their moment is raw, hopeful, a brief escape from the daily grind. But celebration is short-lived. Will notices a man at a nearby bar flashing over 100 years on his clock. Henry Hamilton. Danger pulses in the air. The Minutemen arrive, a ruthless gang enforcing time, theft in the ghetto. Led by the menacing Fortis, they spot Henry's vast time and move in. Will acts fast, pulling Henry out of harm's way. They dart through alleyways, breath ragged, until they hide in a dilapidated building. That night, Henry's secret spills out. The system is a lie. There's more than enough time for all, but the elite hoard it to live forever, controlling the masses by design. Henry's lived over a century and refuses to be part of this injustice any longer. Will listens, skeptical but intrigued. As Will sleeps, Henry transfers a staggering 116 years into Will's clock, a gift and a burden. Will wakes to the cold reality of new time ticking on his arm. He chases after Henry, but finds only a man sitting peacefully on a bridge, letting his time run out. Henry dies alone, a martyr for change. Will's heart pounds as he rushes to the bus station, clutching the precious time he just received. More than enough now to save both himself and Rachel. The crowd moves chaotically, the environment harsh and unforgiving. He approaches the counter, ready to pay the fare, but Rachel's frailty is evident. She hesitates, breath shallow, the worn look in her eyes more than just tiredness. It's the desperation of someone running out of time. Unable to produce enough time for her fare, Rachel makes a split-second decision. She bolts toward the exit, pushing through the dense crowd, her steps desperate but faltering. Will chases after her, shouting, but the noise swallows his voice. Every second on his arm blinks fiercely, counting down as if urging him forward. Rachel's legs tire, the harsh pavement unforgiving under her feet. Will gains on her, extending his hand, desperate to give her the time that can save her life. But fate moves cruelly fast. Her time runs out just before he reaches her. She collapses in slow motion, the light fading from her eyes as the clock on her arm hits 0. Will falls to his knees, cradling her broken body, screaming silently into the void of a system that's stolen so much. The world around him blurs into chaos. The cold metallic sound of the bus engine fades away as grief crashes over him like a tidal wave. This moment is the turning point, the personal heartbreak that ignites his rebellion. Will rises with burning determination and heads straight to New Greenwich, the heart of the wealthy elite. He pays a year's toll to enter, a fortune to him but pocket change for them. The air changes immediately. Silence, luxury, and a calm that feels alien. As Will crosses into the city, the contrast is immediate. Clean streets, polished architecture. People walk slowly, confidently. Time is no burden to them. Will pauses briefly, taking it in. He walks into a luxury hotel. The receptionist barely blinks as she scans his arm. No questions asked. In his suite, Will studies the skyline, then heads out, now dressed in a sharp suit. His movements are measured, mimicking the idle pace of the rich. He blends in, stepping into a posh casino where time flows like champagne. Tables buzz with tension. Will faces Philippe Weiss in a poker game with sky-high stakes. And against all odds, Will wins an enormous pile of time. Over 1,000 years. Sylvia Weiss, Philippe's daughter, watches from the sidelines, intrigued by Will's daring. At a lavish party hosted by Philippe, the tension builds as Will openly challenges the morality of the system. The calm is shattered when timekeepers storm the event. Raymond Leon leads the arrest, accusing Will of stealing Henry's time. They confiscate nearly everything, leaving Will with just 2 hours. But Will doesn't surrender. In a burst of adrenaline, he seizes Sylvia as a hostage and flees. The escape is chaotic. Speeding cars, screeching tires, gunshots ringing out in dark alleyways. Sylvia's shock is palpable. She's thrust into a brutal world of constant urgency and danger. Every second counts. Their hideout with Burrell turns tragic when Burrell overdoses on alcohol, overwhelmed by the shock of having time he never expected. Sylvia, shaken and desperate, calls her father for help, only to learn a deadly bounty has been placed on Will's head. During the night, Sylvia removes her heels, dresses down, cuts her hair slightly. She looks in the mirror, not as a socialite, but as someone adapting to a fight. She begins to understand Will's cause. It's no longer a game. They're hunted, and she wants to fight back. Night fell over the city like a silent verdict. What began as a heist was now a reckoning. Will and Sylvia, breath sharp and heart steady, slipped through the steel arteries of the Weiss Time Bank. Time flowed here not like a river, but like blood. Stored, hoarded, guarded. Their steps were measured, almost rhythmic, moving in tune with flashing red security lights and the hush of surveillance. Deep within the vault, their eyes locked on the motherlode. 1,000,000 years in time capsules. No alarms. No guards yet. Will hesitated. Not out of fear, but out of awe. This was more than wealth. It was breath, life, revolution. With one decisive motion, they uploaded the time into the network, injecting hope into the veins of the forgotten. Ripples turned to shockwaves. Timekeeper Raymond Leon was already closing in. Cold, methodical, relentless. He didn't chase criminals. He hunted imbalances. His team tracked the breach with precision. Will and Sylvia had become more than fugitives. They were contagion. The streets were chaos. Not in panic, but in wonder. People who had lived by seconds now stared in disbelief as years lit up on their arms. Mothers wept. Workers paused. The world inhaled. Will and Sylvia fled through industrial corridors and shattered alleyways, metal groaning around them like the last cries of a dying machine. Their car tore through the city, clocks blinking, engines roaring. The past and future collided in every turn. Leon stayed close. Too close. Then disaster. Will's time hit zero. A blink. A gasp. Collapse. Sylvia didn't think. She moved. She grabbed his arm and transferred her own precious seconds into him, like CPR through time. Will gasped back to life, lungs full of borrowed breath. Eyes locked. That moment, their bond was sealed. They weren't just surviving. They were committing. Their escape led them out of New Greenwich. But there was no going back. Timekeepers scrambled to contain the spread, but the system's logic was crumbling. Time, once tightly coiled at the top, now unraveled into every corner. The working class, once suffocating, exhaled. Factories slowed. Streets surged. Leon made one last charge. He found them outside a crumbling factory, sirens near, dawn breaking. He raised his weapon, took a step, and froze. His own clock blinked red. Too late. Leon collapsed. A loyal mechanism of the system, consumed by its own rule. His end wasn't loud. It was cold, simple, forgotten. Will and Sylvia didn't look back. On the horizon, a larger bank stood. Another fortress. Another wall to breach. The world had tasted something dangerous. A moment without fear. And they weren't done yet. This wasn't just about time anymore. This was a war for tomorrow. Time's up, but your story with us doesn't have to end here. If this recap stole your breath like a ticking clock, then don't waste a second. Tap that like button before your time runs out. Got thoughts or theories? Drop a comment below. And if you're ready for more stories that race against time and break every rule, subscribe to Recap Scope and hit the bell. Because in this world, every second counts, and your next recap is just around the corner.